A list of the top breakout stars for each team in 2024 has been released. I'll tell you who was selected for the Cardinals. Plus, the starting pitching market is beginning to finally move a bit. I'll have the latest on Jordan Montgomery and more for you on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. Want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. That way you're interacting with us. Hit the notification button so you know when new episodes are posted, because this right here is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get started. All right, first and foremost, Happy New Year 2024. It's here. New Year's Day. Hope you guys celebrated accordingly for New Year's Eve. The wife and I went out with a bunch of friends, went to some restaurants, and had ourselves a blasty blast. And now it's back to work, back to the grind. Let's talk about the Cardinals, because that's what the show's about. Let's talk specifically. I want to start with kind of the age mix, if you will, of what's going on with the Cardinals right now. Because when we look at the starting rotation, which is something the team wanted to fix, we know that it's now filled with a lot of veterans. You know, Sonny Gray is 34. Kyle Gibson is 36. Miles Mikolas is 35. Lance Lynn is 36. Steven Matz is the baby of the rotation at 32 years old. That's an average age of 35 years old. Okay? That's kind of ancient in the sports world, right? In real life, not such a big deal, but in sports, you're a little bit old if you're getting to your mid-30s. On the offensive side of things, it's a little bit better. You've got your two best players, Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, who I've got the jerseys up as we enter this new year of 2024. Arenado 32, Goldie 36, Wilson Contreras 31 years old. But when you look around the diamond at the rest of the team, it's got a nice mix of young veterans and young up-and-coming players. At least in my opinion, I would put Edman, Donovan, and Nootbaar in the young vets category. They've been around a few years, but they're not old guys by any means. Tommy Two Bags, 28. Brendan Donovan's 26. Lars Nootbaar, 26. You can throw guys like Richie Palacios in there. He's 26. Luken Baker is 26. Alec Burleson, 25. Dylan Carlson is 25. Those are my young vets. And then you drop down to the next level of age, and you've got Nolan Gorman at 23. Ivan Herrera, 23. Mason Wynn and Jordan Walker, both 21. And this is the area we're going to focus on a bit today, because a list just came out on MLB.com with every team's most likely breakout star for 2024. And it shouldn't surprise anyone that the players selected by John Denton, because what they did is go to the different reporters that cover each team and ask them, who is it going to be? Who would you select? John Denton's the guy who covers the team for MLB.com. And he went with number 18, Jordan Walker. Nice selection, right? And I think because last year was such a stinker for the team overall, that we kind of overlook how good Jordan Walker actually was. The defense was bad. Don't get me wrong. I know that. It was really, really bad, especially in the early going. I think it got better as the season went on, as he got more comfortable in right field. At least the eyeball test says that. The analytics and metrics and stuff may not agree with me, but I felt like I saw him getting better jumps on the ball, taking better routes. A few diving catches here and there. The arm was never an issue. We always knew that he had one of the best arms in the league out the gate. He's got a cannon for an arm. It's going to be one of the best ones in the league out there in right field for years to come. But offensively, I think we underestimate how good Jordan Walker actually was. After starting the year on the opening day roster at age 20, mind you, he had 274 with 2 home runs and 11 RBIs, his total OPS plus of 83. Okay. We all thought that was, pretty good, pretty decent. But then on April 26th, the team decided to send him down to work on his launch angle. And I know a lot of us were scratching our heads going, really, guys? Really? Why'd you have him on the roster in the first place then? I said last year, I'm like, I would have sent him to AAA to start the season. You had enough outfielders as is, and they decided not to. They went on their own path, and they decided to keep him up on the team. Then on April 26th, the end of the month, they're like, we're going to send you down. You're not getting the ball in the air enough. So they did that. He goes down there, works on a few things. Then they recall him on June 2nd, where he remained for the rest of the season. So in June, he hits 338 with 4 home runs and 9 RBIs, total OPS plus of 148. Very, very good. His worst month of the season was actually in July. Hit 209, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, total OPS plus of 55. Not so good. But then he rebounds in August. It's 265 with 3 dongs, 11 RBIs, total OPS plus of 102. And then in September, October, he's at 304, 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, total OPS plus of 116. So when we look at Jordan Walker's final numbers on the season, 276, 16 home runs, 51 RBIs, OPS of 787, OPS plus of 115. Remember, 100 is league average. So 115, you like that out of your rookie. Comparing him to right fielders across the league, here's where he finished, or where he would have finished. Remember, he had 420 at-bats, so he wasn't a qualified hitter technically. A lot of these guys that he's going up against had over 500, sometimes over 600 at-bats. So 276 average among all right fielders, that would be 5th. His 16 home runs would be 9th. His 51 RBIs, 12th. He also wasn't hitting very high in the order, if you remember. He was very, very much down at 7 and 8 for a lot of the season. 342 on base percentage would rank 5th. His 445 slugging percentage would rank 10th. And his 787 OPS would rank 7th. That's among all right fielders in the league, qualified right fielders. His projected numbers over 162 games, he would have hit 22 home runs and 71 RBIs, which would be top 10 in both categories as a right fielder. Again, he was 20, turned 21 during the season. And when I think of outfielders who came up young and have gone on to become stars, I think of new Yankees left fielder Juan Soto. He came up young, came up at age 19. His rookie year, 292, 22 home runs, and 70 RBIs. Now, his second year at age 20, he goes ballistic. 282, 34 bombs, 110 ribbies. Huge year. The Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr., 20 years old, his rookie year. Hit 293 with 26 home runs, 64 RBIs. Also stole 16 bags. His second year goes wild. Age 21, hits 280, 41 home runs, 101 RBIs, 37 stolen bases. Mike Trout came up at age 19, had a cup of coffee with the team, didn't do much. Hit 220 over 40 games, but next season at age 20, hits 326, 30 home runs, 83 RBIs, 49 stolen bases. The legend of Mike Trout begins. Bryce Harper came up at age 19, hit 270, 22 home runs, 59 RBIs. His second year at age 20, 274, 20 home runs, 58 RBIs. His first huge year was in 2015 at age 22, when he hits 330 with 42 bombs and 99 ribbies. So those are a few of the elite guys, top of the mountain guys. And that's the best of the best. And no, Jordan Walker's rookie season, his numbers aren't quite there with those guys. Okay. Not quite there. Matches up with Bryce Harper kind of nicely. But I think what we saw from him last year, while remember, he's learning a new position after being sent down while batting lower in the order on a really bad team that just felt all year long. They just couldn't get things going, which makes it even tougher to play ball. I think it should have fans excited about Jordan Walker's future. Like, this guy is on a trajectory to be an elite hitter in this league. And John Denton feels the same way. So time-wise, we gotta take a break here real quick, but I'll have what John Denton said about him, plus some of the other NL Central choices, who their reporters chose as the up-and-coming guys for 2024 that people should pay attention to. We'll talk about the NL Central and those choices next on Locked On Cardinals. Score this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Now, if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, great time to do it. We got college football going on tonight, but NFL-wise, we're getting down to the final week. Everybody's jockeying for a position in the NFL. Who's going to be the top seeds? My Packers, victorious last night on New Year's Eve, so all they have to do, I think, is beat Chicago this week, and they're in. Crazy as it sounds, they're in. And a lot of teams have different scenarios that they can make the playoffs this year, and you're going to be into these games as a fan, and why not make a little money on the side while you're at it? Spreads, player props, over-unders, a whole lot more. I hope you all got in on that Cleveland Browns win on Thursday night that I told you about. I sure did. I made it, paid for my whole night last night from what I made to get off the Cleveland Browns. Nice fat chunk of change on that one. And if betting spreads or over-unders not the thing you want to get in on, player props are a lot of fun. Always a fun way to make your bets pay off big. The more obscure the prop, the more money you can make. That's how it works. So if you got a feeling about that blocking tight end scoring a touchdown, or you think that backup running back could go off and get more use this final week, put a prop bet on them. See if it pays off for you. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. So go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave comments on YouTube. We're going to do a show. I think the next one is going to be, unless there's some sort of breaking news, is going to be mostly fan feedback. Okay. So I haven't done one in a couple of episodes, and there's been a lot of chiming in. You guys want to get your voices heard. I want to talk to you. So hit us up there in the comment section on YouTube, as well as on Twitter anytime you want. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. So now that you've got the stats of what Jordan Walker did last year, and hopefully that got you a little more excited about him. Maybe you were like I was, and you're like, wait, he was actually much better than I thought he was. Here's what John Denton said about Walker and why he was Denton's selection to be the Cardinals' breakout star for 2024. When Walker made the Cardinals opening day roster with an electrifying spring and started his MLB career with hits in his first 12 games, few would have imagined he would have failed to get a vote for the NL's Rookie of the Year. By the way, won by Corbin Carroll from the Diamondbacks, in case you were wondering. However, that happened after he was briefly demoted and struggled with his defense. Walker vowed he would pocket those lessons learned and use them to springboard him forward in 2024. At 6'6" and 245 pounds, Walker is too physically gifted to not make enormous strides in year two. The guess here, 25 home runs and 75 RBIs. Now, you guys got to remember, when we talk about this, that Jordan Walker was one of the top prospects in all of baseball last year. So to have him break out in a big way next season, I mean, it shouldn't shock anybody that he should be good. But that is going to be huge for this team. Like, I think we forget that some of these guys are going to get better. You know, the offense needs another star to go along with Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, because, yeah, they're getting older. And Walker could be that guy. He should be that guy. Keeping Nolan Gorman healthy is going to be a major task for the team next year. We got to work on these back problems, but that could give you two guys with huge futures for the St. Louis Cardinals. They are going to be your next Goldschmidt Arenado 1-2 punch. That's what the plan is. Gorman finished third in home runs among all second basemen last year with 27, did that in just 406 at bats. Like, the power is off the charts. That's a 15.05 home run per at bat ratio, which among qualified batters would rank 13th in all of baseball. That's what Nolan Gorman can be. Can Mason Wynn show the offense that he did at AA and then at AAA? Can he do that at the major league level? There's a lot of people who are skeptical on whether or not Mason Wynn is going to be good offensively at the major league level. I'm not freaking out about it. I don't. Again, I gave you the stats of Mike Trout when he came up for 40 games, hit 220. I mean, he didn't do anything special. Like, the fact that some people are judging Mason Wynn and saying he's not going to be good. They just already know this, apparently. They can see into the future that Mason Wynn, even though he's been good at every level he's played at, defensively and offensively, feel that he just is going to suck next year. I don't know why, but people feel that way. I think he's going to be fine once he gets comfortable. And I saw it last year. The way I love watching guys who can take the ball to the opposite field. That's when I know that they're kind of figuring things out. And that's what Mason Wynn started doing at the end of the year. His batting average didn't come up very much, but you could see what he was doing. You could see that he was learning and adjusting. And I'm excited for his future. Can Newton Donovan stay healthy? We had issues with that last year. These are all legit questions about this team offensively in 2024. I think the offense could be pretty darn good if it all goes to plan. It did not all go to plan last year in all aspects for the Cardinals, and you get 91 losses because of that, because you had to trade people away. But I'm excited about the future of the team. I'm excited about their offense. I'm still worried about the pitching staff. Despite bringing in Sonny Gray, I'm still worried, and I think a lot of people are, and you should be, because you're looking for bounce-back seasons from Lance Lynn and Miles Michaelis. You're hoping Steven Matz can be healthy. You want Kyle Gibson to continue to do what he did with Baltimore, hopefully be even better. A lot of wishing going on with the rotation, but offensively, stay healthy. I think they'll be okay. Other selections in the NL Central for our breakout players. Let's start with the Brewers. Right-handed pitcher Abner Uribe. Perhaps, and this is from the writings at MLB.com, by the way. So each team's, the guy, their beat reporter, the guy who covers them, is the one who writes these. Says here, perhaps 2023 was the flame-throwing relievers breakout season, but it was just a partial season. Called up right before the All-Star break, Uribe didn't allow a run in 27 of his 32 major league appearances. Held opponents to a 154 average with a 1.76 ERA and threw 10 of the 11 fastest pitches in Brewers history, as tracked by StatCast, which has data back to 2008. That's the sort of heat that makes Uribe look like Milwaukee's eventual successor to All-Star Devin Williams. For now, Uribe's role has grown into a bona fide late-inning weapon. So another weapon for the Brewers to keep an eye on. And if they don't want Devin Williams, we'll bring him home. Bring him home. Hazelwood West product. Bring him home. For the Cubs, left-handed pitcher Jordan Wicks was selected. When the Cubs picked Wicks in the first round of the 2021 draft, there was a strong belief that he had polished enough to move swiftly up the organizational ladder. The 24-year-old lefty lived up to that billing, reaching the rotation in Chicago by August of last season in the thick of a playoff chase. Wicks, 24 years old, ended his campaign with a tough outing in Milwaukee where he gave up 6 runs in an inning and 2/3. That skewed an otherwise strong MLB debut. In his first 6 starts, he went 4-1 with a 3 ERA, showing poise and showing off a 6-pitch arsenal that includes an elite changeup. I had my eyes on Jordan Wicks already. I had him on my fantasy team. Got to keep an eye on those prospects coming up. And so he did well for me last year, won the championship with him. Pirates, they went with shortstop O'Neal Cruz, who, remember, got hurt last year. Here's what they say. Given the already high praise he's garnered, it's hard to believe that Cruz has yet to reach 100 games in Major League Baseball. A fractured tibia in April last season ended his year in heartbreaking fashion. He's at a career 751 OPS so far, and anyone who has seen his raw tools knows he's capable of more than that. Cruz said in September, I'm going to set my bar high from last year and do things I can't even imagine right now. I'm going to be in a good spot mentally and physically, and it's going to be a special year. He's very, very talented. I know Elly De La Cruz got a lot of the attention in the NL Central this year. O'Neal Cruz is right up there with him in a skill set. Like, he's something special. Speaking of the Reds, they went with infielder Matt McLain. McLain was one of several rookies who made the Reds a better club after his May 15th promotion, but he was also overshadowed by the more dynamic Elly De La Cruz, even though the numbers weren't, Cruz's numbers weren't even close to McLain's. In 89 games last season, McLain bats .290, .864 OPS, 16 home runs, 50 RBIs, 14 steals. He was a heck of a player. However, he missed all of September with an oblique strain and was unable to contribute down the stretch. One sign of the spark the 24-year-old brought to Cincinnati. The club was 18-22 before his arrival. They went 50-42 until he got hurt. So he was a key cog, expected to be fully healthy by spring training and likely an everyday player at either second base or shortstop. McLain has a good chance to really break out in his sophomore season with his 2023 experience behind him. So that's what we're looking at. You've got an infielder for the Reds, you've got an infielder for the Pirates, and then a couple pitchers for the Cubs and the Brewers to go along with the Cardinals' Jordan Walker. Now, if you want to read the whole list of every single team's prospect, go to MLB.com. I can link it in the description for you. I'll do my best to find it again, and we'll get it all squared away for you. How about we talk some starting pitching next? The latest on the starting pitching market, including Jordan Montgomery. That is next on Locked On Cardinals. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube. Subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Now that the Yamamoto sweepstakes is over, the rest of the starting pitching market should start to move a little bit quicker. I know things have been going very, very slow this year, unfortunately. Just not the excitement. You know, the Cardinals come out of the gate swinging and signing people left and right. They trade Tyler O'Neill, and now we're all just kind of stuck, where everybody's just kind of waiting. The top of most people's lists right now, as far as starting pitchers go, Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell, and then former Cardinal and World Series champion Jordan Montgomery. Now, I have stated on this show before that if there was any pitcher on the market right now that makes sense for the Cardinals to finally give a long-term deal to, that it's Jordan Montgomery. I've explained this before. I'll do it again here real quick. Think about this. If Monty had done, what he did with the Rangers for the Cardinals down the stretch last year, wouldn't the team be trying to sign him to an extension? Wouldn't that be happening? But because he was traded away, they're not willing to do this. I just cannot wrap my head around it. You can't tell me that if Montgomery had stayed with the team and finished the season, he was 10-11, 3.20 ERA in the regular season combined with the Cardinals and the Rangers, and then went 4-2 with a 2.90 ERA in the postseason for Texas. You can't tell me that the Cardinals would let Jordan Montgomery walk. You can't tell me that. You can't convince me that they would let that happen, that they would just, go ahead. No, the Cardinals would have to put up a fight to meet the demands of him and his agent, Scott Boras. But ultimately, it would be something that they would have to do. I mean, imagine the blowback if the guy that was your top pitcher last year didn't re-sign with the Cardinals because the Cardinals didn't want to pay him. It apparently doesn't matter. I make this argument. Apparently, it doesn't matter. Anyway, MLB Network insider Jon Heyman is listing the Red Sox, who I thought was out. I thought I had a report that they were out on Jordan Montgomery, but apparently they're in, according to Heyman. The Phillies, the Giants, the Angels, the Mets, and the Yankees all still interested in him. Regarding Snell, Heyman said that the Angels and Giants make the most sense for the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner. However, Heyman said that he can't see the Angels outbidding the Giants for Snell. So it looks like he's going to stay out there on the West Coast. Is anybody else kind of shocked that the Snell market has been, I don't know, kind of lukewarm and not all that competitive so far? I know everybody had their eggs in the Yamamoto basket. I get that, which kind of ruined it for some of these other guys so far. But for whatever reason, perhaps it's the lack of innings. Perhaps it's the walks from last year, but it just doesn't it seem like a little bit dull for someone who just won his second Cy Young award? Like, I'm sure he'll get a truckload of money wherever he ends up going, but it just seems like the buzz around Snell hasn't quite been as furious as I thought it would be. Like, I thought it would be like everybody be chomping at the bit to get him, and it just doesn't feel that way, at least from the reports that I've been reading and following. I just have not seen a lot of people like, ooh, we need Blake Snell. Like, it seems like he's kind of an afterthought. Like him and Jordan Montgomery is getting just as much attention, and he does not have a Cy Young award in his closet. Blake Snell got two of them. As far as the market for the top closer goes, Josh Hader. The reports are that Hader hasn't signed yet. This is due to his desire to get a contract north of the 5-year, $102 million deal that Edwin Diaz signed with the Mets last offseason. That's per the Athletic's Jim Bowden. Bowden, who was speaking on CBS Sports HQ, said that while no club has gone to the ballpark of a 9-figure contract, the Rangers, Dodgers, and Yankees are all in play for Josh Hader. That said, Bowden says that all three teams would prefer to acquire a starting pitcher before a reliever. So because of that, here we are waiting because the Cardinals need a relief pitcher, right? Additionally, Bowden said that the Yankees are hoping to reacquire Jordan Montgomery in free agency, but would have no problem pivoting to Hader if Monty signs elsewhere. Now, we know the Cardinals are in the market for another relief pitcher. We know they need another relief pitcher or two, in some people's opinion. I think they just get one, just knowing who the Cardinals are. Hader's clearly out of their price range, and depending on what he gets, we'll know what the market is for somebody like a Jordan Hicks, who I know many fans, myself included, think a reunion with Jordan Hicks would be great. Bring both Jordans back. I think they would fit nicely into what this team needs going into 2024. Just my gut feeling, he'll go somewhere else. Whether it's returning to Toronto, whether it's going to his home state of Texas and pitching for either the Rangers or the Astros. You know, I could see that. Those moves make sense. As far as relievers who are still out there, there's a bazillion of them still, but some of the top names, guys like Hector Neris, Aroldis Chapman, David Robertson, Robert Stevenson, they're all still there. MLB.com says that Neris, who has closing experience from his time with the Phillies, is coming off one of the best seasons of his career, posting a 1.71 ERA with 31 holds and 77 strikeouts over 68 and a third innings. He's older, mind you, but pretty darn good closing experience. You like that. Chapman can be shaky at times. Once again, this is MLB.com writing. Chapman can be shaky at times as his command comes and goes, but he has 321 career saves and ranked in the 99th percentile or better in average fastball velocity, expected batting average, whiff rate, and strikeout rate in 2023. There are going to be times where Aroldis Chapman drives you bonkers. Go ask Rangers fans. Go ask Yankees fans. There's times, especially late in his career here, that he just cannot find the strike zone. It happens. But if he doesn't have to be your closer all the time, I'm okay with that. I mean, he was with the Royals last year. Like, he's not good enough for the Cardinals. Both of these guys, Neris and Chapman, fit what I think the Cardinals need, which is someone with closer experience to team up with Helsley at the back end of the bullpen. Helsley likely going to get hurt at some point. He's that guy. It happens. So whether it's only for 2 weeks, whether it's a month or longer, hopefully it's not, but you need somebody else to be able to shut things down. And I think it'd be great to have either one of those guys on a 1 or 2 year deal ready to roll along with Ryan Helsley at the back of that bullpen. Then there's Robert Stevenson. MLB.com continues here saying arguably Stevenson's the most intriguing of all of the bullpen arms, despite his career 4.64 ERA for 4 teams in 8 seasons. Traded from the Pirates to the Rays in June, the 30-year-old tweaked his arsenal and unlocked a new level of dominance, notching a 2.35 ERA, a 0.68 whip, and 6-to-8 K walk ratio over 38 and a third innings in a Tampa Bay uniform. Can he repeat that in a different uniform? The Tampa Bay Rays, somehow, some way, they just have that magic dust. And the Cardinals used to have that. Remember, his name was Dave Duncan. And he used to sprinkle the magic dust on guys who failed elsewhere. They'd come to St. Louis, he'd fix them, and they'd be great. And then they would move on, get big contracts, and not be all that good anywhere else. I don't think the Cardinals, at least they haven't shown, at least in year one, with Dusty Blake and company, that they have that magic dust. Maybe they will do better in year two. I'm hoping, but I don't know. I don't know if you trust Robert Stevenson enough to bring him in and put him like immediately into one of those scenarios as one of your back end of the bullpen guys. I would much rather go with a veteran like a David Robertson or a Neris or a Chapman, somebody who's done it time and time and time again, whether instead of just relying on 38 innings from last year and trusting that. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Let's lock it up here. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, do me a solid. Give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Our channel growing and growing. We surpassed. We're inching towards the 9,000 subscribers. Would love to get to 10 before the season starts. So we got a couple of months. So if you're new to the channel, I would appreciate it if you can like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.